right now, okay? Thank you. Okay, folks, we're going to get started. Everyone can remain seated. Thank you. The Summit County Court of Common Pleas is now in session. The Honorable Amy Corbel-Jones presiding. This is State of Ohio versus Erica Stefanko, case number 2012-07-1887B.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today is July 20th, 2021. We're here today for the sentencing with Erica Stefanko. I just want to address all the individuals we have in the courtroom. I know that we have GC with us. We have lawyers from the Justice Center, a victim advocate. I know that we have Ms. Stefanko's mother, her mother's friend. We also have supporters, her husband, Mike Stefanko, and a friend, Ms. Kiefer, will identify her at the appropriate time. Ms. Stefanko, you were found guilty by jury verdict of counts 15 and 17. You were found not guilty on counts 16, 18, 19, and 20. Prior to trial, the state of Ohio dismissed counts 21 through 26. Before I address the state of Ohio's perspective on merger between counts 15 and 17, we'll note for the record that Attorney O'Brien is present on behalf of Ms. Stefanko. Ms. Stefanko is present. Attorney Cottrell is present. Attorney Easter is present on behalf of the state of Ohio. Attorney LaPrenzi is present on behalf of the state of Ohio. Detective Hitchings is present on behalf of the Franklin County Police Department and behalf of the state of Ohio. Again, I've identified who we have present with GC. My understanding is Cindy Cobb will be making a statement. She is not present in the courtroom, will come into the courtroom. I appreciate everyone's responses to my staff regarding verification of vaccination. Based on the information that I received and the information that we have at this time, everyone will remain with a mask on, and we will proceed accordingly. There was no pre-sentence investigation ordered. I did receive a sentencing memo filed by Attorney O'Brien. I also received a motion for a furlough, which I will address. The court has also received a variety of letters from both the victim's perspective and representatives, and on behalf of Ms. Stefanko. First, let's start. Attorney LaPrenzi or Attorney Easter, regarding the convictions on count 15 and 17. My understanding is count 15, she was convicted of aggravated murder. Count 17 was convicted or a conviction for murder. My question to you is, what is your perspective on the issue of merger?
Your Honor, the state agrees that the two counts merge, and we would elect to proceed on count 15, the aggravated murder.
Attorney O'Brien, any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Court's understanding, but I would ask the parties to confirm Ms. Stefanko faces a sentence, a life sentence with eligibility of parole after 20 or 25 or 30 years, or a life sentence without the eligibility or possibility of parole. From the state of Ohio, is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Attorney O'Brien?
Understood, Your Honor, and agreed.
As a result of the potential for parole eligibility after either 20, 25, or 30 years, or no parole eligibility, it's the court's perspective that there will be no advisement on post-release control. From the state of Ohio, Attorney Easter?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Attorney O'Brien?
I believe that's the law, Your Honor.
Thank you. After Ms. Stefanko is sentenced, the court believes, pursuant to laws imposed by the lawmakers in the state of Ohio, there is a violent offender registration form and notice that must be provided to the defendant. The court intends to do so at the appropriate time. Attorney Easter?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Attorney O'Brien?
Understood, Your Honor.
Thank you. Now, we have Miss Kimberly Biggs attending and viewing the proceedings remotely. We also were provided notice that Kimberly Dunson Holden may want to view and speak remotely. We were originally scheduled at 1 p.m. It is 1:29 p.m. Ms. Biggs is in our virtual waiting room prepared to speak. It's also my understanding, based on our information provided by the prosecutor's office here in Summit County, the Justice Center out of Columbus, GC is present. I see her. She will be providing a statement at the appropriate time. Just so that the record is clear, the state of Ohio, I know, has exercised its due diligence in providing notice to any victim or victim representative. Would you please confirm that on the record?
Yes, Your Honor, we have done our due diligence in notifying all parties necessary.
Thank you very much. And other than the individuals that we've identified here today, I don't believe that there is anyone else. I do know that Miss Cindy Cobb, who is Chad Cobb's mother, GC's grandmother, is prepared to provide a statement, as I stated earlier. So with that, I have Miss Kimberly Biggs in the waiting room. Miss Biggs, here's what's going to happen. I am going to send you a written message, and then you are going to be given the opportunity to provide your statement. And so, folks, bear with me. And just so that you folks know, I've just indicated to Ms. Biggs that she's permitted to speak and that I will unmute her device. I know that we have Kelsey Dennis present with us as well. So Ms. Dennis, just so that you know, I am unmuting Ms. Biggs. Ms. Biggs, you are permitted to speak.
I have Miss Kimberly Biggs in the waiting room. Miss Biggs, here's what's going to happen.
Yes.
I am going to send you a written message, and then you are going to be given the opportunity to provide your statement. And so, folks, bear with me. Just so that you folks know, just indicate that she is permitted to speak and that I will unmute her device. I know that we have Kelsey Dennis present with us as well. So Ms. Dennis.
Do it again.
Just so that you know, I am unmuting Ms. Biggs.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay. All right. I am unmuted, correct? Do I have to go ahead? Okay. As Ashley's mother, I relive her death every single day. Every day I wake up and my first thought is my daughter is gone. Every day I feel unspeakable pain and loss that I will never get over. Every day I think of my granddaughter who is growing up without a mother. Every day I wonder what Ashley would have accomplished had she lived. Every day I must come to terms with the fact that there's a huge dark void in my life, a gut-wrenching pain that takes my breath away. The daughter I carried, gave birth to, raised, watched grow into a beautiful human being is no more. She is gone, and she is never coming back. Erica Stefanko helped decide that her life was worthless, that she did not deserve to live, and she helped kill my daughter, in cold blood. But I am not the only one suffering. Erica's children are going to grow up the same way as my granddaughter. They will grow up without a mother and a father. Their childhood was ripped away from them, the same way Grace's was. They will forever live with the stigma of murdering parents that will affect their lives entirely. All this loss is because of the two people, and while Chad will never see the light of day again, thank God, Erica is just as guilty as Chad. She made the decision to help snuff out my daughter's life and leave Grace and her children motherless. I do not believe in peer pressure. I do not believe someone can be pressured into doing something horrible. If they do not want to do it, adults make decisions for themselves, and Erica made that decision to end my child's life freely and willingly, just as Chad did. Erica did not care whose life would be affected, that people would live forever in this, I got pages mixed up, I'm sorry, with agonizing pain and loss. She just did not care. Ashley's life meant nothing to her, and what would Grace have to endure if Erica had gotten away with murder and had raised her? Would her jealousy, evil have been inflicted onto Grace? My daughter was a hero. She was a military veteran who served her country proudly. She put her life before an entire nation. That is the kind of person Ashley was. She always put everyone before herself. She was kind, loyal, good, loving, and deserves justice for her life being brutally snuffed out. Eric, today you deserve the same compassion that you gave none. You are a vicious, cold-hearted, cold-blooded killer who put yourself before anyone else, not just Ashley and Grace, but before your own children. That is the kind of mother you care and the kind of person you are. You're cold, remorseless, vicious, evil, jealous, and selfish, and you deserve the absolute maximum sentence offered by the justice system. You have destroyed so many lives. You willingly and deliberately helped plan Ashley's murder. You went with Chet to commit the murder, and you helped hide the evidence. Ashley's blood is on your hands, and you can never wash that off. You have been found guilty by our legal system, and you deserve to spend every single day of your life in the hell that is prison. You have not shown no 1 ounce of remorse for what you did, proving you have no conscience, compassion, or accountability. You are a menace to society, and I will live each day breathing a little easier with the knowledge that you are locked up and cannot harm another person again. And Judge, I address this to you. Your Honor, I am extremely grateful for the work that the police did, the prosecutors, and the court has done to find my daughter's murderers guilty. As a mother and a grandmother, as a human being who suffers incredible loss daily, I ask for your compassion in the sentencing, not compassion for Erica, who has shown that she does not deserve. For my granddaughter and myself, please have mercy on those this evil woman has harmed, and the people she did yet harm, and sentence Erica Stefanko to life in prison. Let her wake up each every day, realizing her life is over, just like I do, just like Ashley does. Let her be reminded every minute what she did were not to just me and my granddaughter, and to those who loved Ashley, but to her own children. Let her sentence be a stern warning to others in custody situations, that couples should not hate each other more than that they love their children. And that lawless behavior comes with dire consequences. And most of all, Your Honor, please have compassion for Ashley. His last moments on this earth was terrifying, agonizing, and brutal. Erica took a lot of time to plan this Ashley's murder. She could have changed her mind, but no. And backed up at any time. I know she did deliberately pursue my daughter as a hideous predator. Today is the day Ashley can finally rest in peace and tears. I pray justice in her name. I pray justice in her name, please. Ashley and those who loved her breathe again and attempt to rebuild their lives. And Erica Stefanko is given the punishment she deserves. A term, life imprisonment, without possibility of parole. I appreciate you giving me the time to do this, Your Honor. And I thank you. Bye, my angel. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Biggs. I now have Ms. Holden in the waiting room, just so that you all know. I indicated to her that she will speak next. I have sent her that written notification. She's prepared to speak. And Ms. Holden, if you can just give me the thumbs up and know that you're ready to speak, I will unmute you at this time.
Hear me? Erica Stefanko, where do I even begin? First, I want to say how much peace it brings me to know this day is finally here. I'm beyond grateful for the police who have worked so hard on this case to bring the opportunity for justice. And I want to thank the judge for listening to both sides and serving an unbiased judgment. Alongside Ashley's mom, I waited 9 years hoping justice would be served. Like Chad, you deserve no form of sympathy or forgiveness. You deserve no redemption. You deserve misery and loneliness. You deserve to rot in prison and to burn in hell afterwards. I do, however, feel some sadness, only for the children involved. You and Chad have forced them into a reputation of embarrassment and disgrace just by having the last name Cobb. That has to be the most degrading setback there is. It must break their hearts knowing that your hatred for Ashley was greater than your love for them. You deserve to miss birthday parties, holidays, graduations, school dances, weddings, vacations, and any other overall life experiences that they will embark on, just like Ashley will. You are the most pitiful excuse, not only for a mother, but for a human being. Knowing everything that you have ever said or posted online, even after Ashley's death, and the disrespect that you have shown for the justice system, not to mention all the dehumanizing things we all heard on the recordings during trial, I know you still feel no guilt and no remorse, because that's who you are and who you have always been. I hope one day, when and if you do feel remorse, I hope that that keeps you alive. As far as today goes, you sit exactly where you belong. I understand that some people take this moment at trial to offer forgiveness and mercy. I want you to know that I offer you nothing. You are a coward. You are evil. With respect to our honorable judge, even the sentence she hands down will not be suited enough for what you truly deserve. Maybe your afterlife will take care of that. And I hope that in that life you are also offered no sympathy, no forgiveness, and no redemption. I want to end this statement by saying what a sad loss it is that DC will never, ever get the opportunity now to know her mom. Not only are her only memories tarnished and overshadowed by the lies of her dad and his family and what is being told to her, but she will never be given the chance to properly feel or grieve. She will never make new memories with her mom or ask the questions that every young girl needs to. I hope one day she understands that her mom not only loved her more than anything in this world, but that she literally gave her life for her. Rest in heaven, Ashley Nicole Biggs. Judge, I am not only, but I am pleading with you to please hand down the highest form of punishment in regards to sentencing Erica Stefanko. Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. The Ring Central link will now be shut down as we planned, and everyone on the Ring Central session has been provided notice of that. With that, it's my understanding that the state wishes to have either Cindy Cobb or GC make a statement at this time.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
My understanding that you folks want to have either Cindy Cobb or GC make a statement at this time?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Okay, do you have a preference? GC, would you
GC,
like to go ahead?
It's their preference. Who would you, GC,
Okay.
Your Honor?
Do you want to, I think Ms. Kiefer talked to you, do you want to do it from where you're at?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. And let me start by saying you have a beautiful name, first
Thank
and
you.
last name. I want you to know that. Go ahead.
I believe in God, so I personally think that everybody deserves a second chance. Yet these extremities only go so far for an action. Every action in life has a consequence, even if you refuse to serve for what you've done. Not only did you destroy lives, you devastated lives. You slaughtered lives. This murder wasn't done alone, yet you got what you wanted, didn't you? You separated what we thought was family. Now look where you ended. Isn't this what you wanted? Actions speak louder than words, but you don't even have the words to try to defend yourself. You never wanted to get caught. You thought that you would live a happy little life, convincing your own children that you had nothing to do with where their father has been placed, that you had nothing to do with my mother's death. You don't deserve to be called a mother. Knowing the secrets you kept with me, it breaks my heart to know what would happen to my siblings being raised by a devil like you. My father, Chad Cobb, has always been the superhero in my life. He's always been a family man and put his children first. Every day felt like a black hole that I was only falling deeper into until he would come home from work. He was the hand that lifted me up, and I'm proud to say that to this day he still is. He made me feel safe. He is what made that house feel like a home. He is what made us a family. Or so he thought. He didn't know the secrets you were keeping because not even I could tell him, as if I did, you would do worse to me. You didn't like the attention. You didn't like the fact that my father put his children before you. You didn't like the fact that I loved my father. You sought vengeance. You forced me to eat dog feces, and then the next thing I know, you turn around and post "Happy Birthday, Gracie" on your Facebook page. You're twisted in your own mind, and it's clear to see. Unfortunately, that is just one of the many examples of the cruel things Erica did to me when I was little. Erica would hurt me and then scream at me saying, "If you tell your dad what I do to you, I will do worse." She studied years of psychology, so she knows how to and has messed with people's brains and feelings. She can turn your intentions around with just a sentence. I was so frightened that I never told my dad about how she was harming me. Erica is unpredictable, and it's scary still to this day. I can't imagine what she would do to me or my family if she ever got out of prison, knowing that we are the ones that put her in the cage that she belongs in. The night of the murder, I can still remember you using a fake name to order the pizza to lure my mother into her death trap. You had so much jealousy of and hatred towards my mom that not only did you rob me of my mother, but also my dad. Why is it that my dad bought us airfare to Disney World, but you were conspiring behind his back to do this to my mom? We can never expose the monster you are and the harm you caused me, because in your words, we need to be on the same page, or you would take my family away from me, even my siblings. Being away from my siblings and my father put a hole in my life. I was so close with my dad, but now he's incarcerated for a crime that was also committed by Erica Stefanko. My view on the world has changed because I now know that I can't trust monsters like you. One day they're supposed to be your mother figure, and the next they're the reason you're crying in a corner, hurt and bruised, even at 16 years old. You were supposed to be the woman I could look up to and call mommy. Now, nearly 9 years later, I ask this court to consider the magnitude and impact of the crime from Erica Stefanko on my life, my mother's life, my father's life, and the rest of my family's life. Even though Ashley was in and out of my life by her choice, she still holds an important place as my biological mother. Yet I will never know if my mother and I would have a continual relationship. This all started with the rivalry between Erica Stefanko and my mother, Ashley Biggs. Then everything went downhill even more when I was placed in a household with the Tier 2 sex offender Daniel Dunson by Magistrate Tracy Stoner. I hope you can understand the distress everything has brought to me and my family. I would ask Your Honor to consider sentencing Erica to the maximum sentence under the law, as any time spent incarcerated is nothing compared to what I and my family have all had to experience from 9 years ago to the rest of our lives. You've walked out of a police station once. Prison is not the real world. You better admire what you see out here, because behind bars all you have left to count on is instincts. We see where that's gotten you to today. Count your blessings and say your prayers while you can. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you wish to call Cindy Cobb? Thank you so much. At the podium. Thank you very much, Attorney Easter.
My name's Cindy Cobb. You knew from the beginning when you met Chad that he and GC were a package deal, as he held sole custody of GC. But from your jealousy and wants, the path of destruction is cut both deep and wide, and has left scars that will carry the rest of our days. All that unfolded started with you, Ashley, in a wave of a magistrate's hand. The devastation that came from your actions destroyed what once was families and friendships, and foremost took away what should have been a normal, happy childhood from 5 children. Even your own mother once stated that you had a very dark side. Now your reign of terror has come to an end. We pray the bars hold you for the rest of your lifetime, as we have seen what befalls those that cross your path. The present cannot change the past, but maybe the future can ease some of the pain and holes in lives and offer some closure for us all. You have made your bed, now it is your turn to lie in it. Thank you for being heard.
I don't believe there's anyone else on behalf of the state of Ohio, correct?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Would you folks like to make your statement or presentation now?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Want us to stay seated, or can we stand?
Whatever you're comfortable, or if you'd like to use the podium, that's up to you. Thank you.
All right. Your Honor, it took 2 individuals to commit this murder. 2 individuals to plan it, carry it out, and executed. Two people similarly situated should receive similar or comparable sentences, such as what Chad Cobb had received or is doing, which is life without the possibility of parole. The defendant in this case, Your Honor, make no doubt about it, was in for a penny, in for a pound, all the way in. She planned it. She made the call that lured Ashley Biggs to her death. She drove to the crime scene. She laid in wait until Ashley Biggs was murdered. She drove Chad with Ashley's body to the cornfield, followed him. She drove back to the crime scene with Chad, trying to clean it, but the police were there, and then drove and hid with him behind the barn. As the defendant said throughout her own taped statement, she did her part and Chad did his part. Chad would have done what she asked. The defendant, Erica Stefanko, was in control. And nobody can say it better than Erica herself, her own words. She states, "I didn't know that at the time, but he really felt pressured by me to do something about it because I felt like he was the only person that could potentially do something about it," talking about the custody battle and Ashley. "And he didn't tell me I can't do it. If he had said I can't do it, then it would have never proceeded because she had that power and control." She says, "Chad would have listened to me. Chad would have done what I asked him to do. And Chad was doing what I had asked him to do." She's not some innocent bystander. Chad did not have control over her actions, her wrongdoings. Erica Stefanko controlled her actions and her wrongdoings in this case. Those were her choices, every step of the way, Your Honor. And all of this over a custody battle. A loved one was taken, Ashley Biggs. Ashley was someone's daughter, mother, cousin, and significant other. This is the epitome of an act of extreme selfishness. In addition, Erica committed this murder with the children in the car. How sick is that? Who does that? These children, including GC, have to live with the fact that they were there when she placed that fatal call, went to the next county to dispose of Ashley Biggs' body, hiding behind the barn to evade apprehension. What type of individual does that? An individual with a total lack or disregard for human life. And this all over a custody battle. As the family stated, now none of the children will have parents to see them grow, to be there for the events of their lives that parents should be there for. And the children will have in their memory banks that incident, or my mom and dad are in prison doing life, or for aggravated murder, or my dad and stepmom killed my mother. What child, what person should have to live with that in their memory banks? But that's what Erica caused based on her actions and what she chose to do. Your Honor, based on the heinous nature of this murder, the brutality and premeditation involved, based on a total lack of disrespect for human life, and the one main thing that is pervasive from the beginning of this to the end throughout the trial is the lack of remorse shown. No remorse has been shown from Erica Stefanko. And again, her own words are our best argument. What comes from her in her recorded statement shows that she should never see the light of day, shows and demonstrates how cold-hearted she is. In her statements, this is her, the defendant, talking about Ashley Biggs. "Can I tell you that I feel bad about what happened to her? No, I really don't. Do I feel bad about what happened to her? Even the moments that she went through before her life ended. that's how this defendant feels about what she did that day. And anything else that is said today, any type of non-genuine remorse, is not for Ashley. It's for Erica Stefanko herself. And trying to minimize and not take responsibility and trying not to get the sentence that has been asked for from the family and now from the state, and that is life without the possibility of parole. No remorse has been shown, again, for Ashley Biggs or GC. The way she treated GC, again, in her own words, telling GC, don't love your dad as much. If you did A, B, and C, or X, Y, and Z, I would treat you better. Your Honor, the state would ask that you sentence Erica Stefanko to a term of imprisonment of life without the possibility of parole. Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Easter. Any further information, statements, or witnesses on behalf of the state of Ohio?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Attorney O'Brien, I believe I noted earlier, the court is in receipt of your sentencing memorandum. With that, sir, it's my understanding that you have Ms. Joelle Hendrick present, Mr. James Greathouse, and Mr. Mike Stefanko who wish to make statements?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Whomever you wish to step forward first, they can use the podium. They shall leave their masks on. Thank you.
Your Honor, we would ask Ms. Stefanko's mother, Noelle,
Okay.
to approach the podium.
Thank you.
Your Honor, Erica is my beloved daughter. And she is just as much an abused victim as anyone else in this case. I have observed my daughter with black eyes. I've observed the emotional abuse from Chad Cobb over the time that she was with him. The things that have been said about Erica today are not true. They are not true. She is a loving mother. She is not abusive in any way herself, but she was abused. She does not have a violent bone in her body. I really have a hard time speaking because this is so difficult. My heart goes out to Ashley's mother. Erica's husband, Mike, and the 5 children are being made to suffer. I pray for clemency in your sentencing. Thank you.
James.
I do want to just verify one item, Attorney O'Brien. It's my understanding that Ms. Hendrick, Mr. Greathouse, and Mr. Stefanko have requested that they not be filmed or photographed. Is that correct? I just want to verify that.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much. Go ahead, sir.
Your Honor, my name James Greathouse. I've been a friend of the family. And I've known Erica since before the incident. I've known her since back in 2010 My sincere hope on sentencing is compassionate tempering, considering Erica's family will be forever harmed by her not being with them. I know what a good mother is, and I know Erica is that. Thank you, Your Honor.
Michael?
Hello, Your Honor. I am Mike Stefanko. I am Erica's husband. I've been happily married to her for the last 6 years. And there's been a lot of talk about her being a monster and incapable of love and uncompassionate, and that could be furthest from the truth. The only common factor in all this destruction and carnage is Chad Cobb. The woman that sits in here today is a loving mother. She is devoted to all those around her. She is a helping friend to all those who know her. She is deserving of a fair sentence, and she's deserving to be with her family again at some point in her life. I pray that the court is fair and merciful with Erica. Thank you.
Your Honor, you had the opportunity to listen to the entire trial from start to finish. I'm not going to take really any umbrage as to what's been said by the state or its witnesses. That's for the court to decide. However, I would like the court, as I indicated in my statement, the sentencing memorandum, Your Honor, the fact that a lot wasn't said in this trial, and that would be the actions of Chad Cobb. And Chad Cobb was really the instigator and the moving force in the death of Ashley Biggs. Once that custody battle went against Mr. Cobb, he became a very dark, brutal person in his family unit at that time, which was then with Erica Stefanko. He became very controlling, very, very angry, and he took out that angry on Erica. And he became so controlling, particularly at the point that he made Erica the company bookkeeper, operations manager of the Cobb company, Cobb Cable Company. And at that point in time, she really began to feel his wrath. Any mistake that was made, any problem that arose, that became Erica's problem. He dominated Erica in every way, financial, emotional, and intellectually. She had nothing to say about anything. And that's what happened the night that this alleged aggravated murder on her part took place. He was in control. She was in fear for her own safety, having said and seen what Chad Cobb had done in the past. You have a young mother here. She has a small child. She's also raising other children. She is reliant completely on financial support from Chad. Your Honor, at this point in time, what I'm asking the court is that we have a person here with no prior record. I'm asking the court to consider this. She's been in the county jail now approximately 20 months, and her punishment began 20 months ago. She's going to be without her family, Michael and her children, for a long, long time, depending on the court. I'm asking the court to consider that punishment has already started. It's going to continue for a long, long time. I would ask the court for the minimum possible sentence. Thank you.
All right. Attorney O'Brien, before I inquire of your client, any further statements or witnesses on behalf of Ms. Stefanko?
No, Your Honor.
All right. With that, Ms. Stefanko, what would you like to put on the record? You have the right to speak before I sentence you.
Your Honor, if it is healing and helpful to Ashley's family and friends, to Grace, think of me as the monster. If it is helpful for Cindy Cobb to exonerate her child for his own actions by putting the blame on me, if that helps these people, particularly the people who are victims, I can accept that. I was most certainly my worst self during my relationship with Chad. I have never been a hateful person. I would never have wanted what happened to Ashley Biggs, regardless of what statements people think that they heard on that tape. And all I can do at this point for her family and friends is to pray for God's peace and comfort for them. However, they need to get it. For my own self, I would ask the court for leniency. I would like to be back with my family someday. I love my children more than life. And my husband does not deserve to go through the rest of his life alone without a partner. Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything else, Attorney O'Brien?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor.
I provided both sides with the letter that Ms. Stefanko wrote to the court. I believe my staff provided that at an earlier time to the state of Ohio and to Attorney O'Brien. And in your statement to me, Ms. Stefanko, you said, "I have much to apologize for, and I will ask for forgiveness for shameful, repulsive things. I only ask that you base my judgment on what I say here and at my sentencing, because that is and will be the truth that comes from my heart." Ms. Stefanko, you were convicted of count 15 and count 17, the state of Ohio, and Attorney O'Brien stipulated to the merger. The state of Ohio has elected to sentence and move forward on sentencing on the conviction of aggravated murder. The indictment reads that you did purposely and with prior calculation and design caused the death of Ashley Biggs. The law requires me to listen to the statements of counsel, listen to relevant evidence, considering the sentencing factors, the seriousness factors, the recidivism factors before the court. And the court has analyzed those seriousness factors and the recidivism factors. The sentencing court pursuant to law shall consider all of the following that apply regarding the offender, the offense, or the victim, and any other relevant factors, as indicating that the offender's conduct is more serious than conduct normally constituting the offense. The physical or mental injury suffered by the victim of the offense due to the conduct of the offender was exacerbated because of the physical or mental condition or age of the victim. The victim of the offense suffered serious physical, psychological, or economic harm as a result of the offense. The offender held a public office or position of trust in the community. The offender's occupation, elected office, or profession obliged the offender to prevent the offense. The offender's professional reputation or occupation, elected office, or profession was used to facilitate the offense. The offender's relationship with the victim facilitated the offense. The offender committed the offense for hire. In committing the offense, the offender was motivated by prejudice. The sentencing court shall also consider all of the following that apply regarding the offender, the offense, or the victim, and any other relevant factors as indicating that the offender's conduct is less serious than conduct normally constituting the offense. The victim induced or facilitated the offense. In committing the offense, the offender acted under strong provocation. In committing the offense, the defendant did not cause or expect to cause physical harm to any person or property. There are substantial grounds to mitigate the offender's conduct, although the grounds are not enough to constitute a defense. The sentencing court shall consider all of the following that apply regarding the offender and any other relevant factors as factors indicating that the offender is likely to commit future crimes. At the time of committing the offense, the offender was under release from confinement. The offender previously was adjudicated a delinquent child. The offender has not been or had not been rehabilitated to a satisfactory degree after previously being adjudicated a delinquent child. The offender has demonstrated a pattern of drug or alcohol abuse related to the offense. The offender shows no genuine remorse for the offense. The sentencing court shall consider all of the following that apply regarding the offender and any other relevant factors, as indicating that the offender is not likely to commit future crimes. Prior to committing the offense, the defender had not been adjudicated a delinquent child. Prior to committing the offense, the defender had not been convicted of or pleaded guilty to a criminal offense. Prior to committing the offense, the offender had led a law-abiding life for a significant number of years. The offense was committed under circumstances not likely to reoccur. The offender shows genuine remorse for the offense. So with that, Ms. Stefanko, based upon the facts and circumstances, consideration of the relevant sentencing factors, applying the minimum sanction I've determined will protect the public and punish you without imposing an unnecessary burden on state or local resources. Analyzing all the factors I'm required to analyze, including the seriousness factors, the recidivism factors, and all other factors before the court. The court is issuing a life sentence with parole eligibility after 30 years. As part of your sentence, you must obey all laws, refrain from any offensive conduct, follow all the rules of the department. You're not allowed to use drugs and alcohol. You may be tested at some point for that. You must follow all the rules of the institution. You are entitled to jail time credit. That will be calculated and included in the final entry. I am not authorized or allowed to impose a no-contact order because I'm imposing a term of incarceration. Otherwise, I would, but the law prohibits me from doing that. I've analyzed your present and future ability to pay costs and fees, and considering the sentence imposed, I will waive those costs and fees. I'm not imposing a fine. I will address your appellate rights here in just one moment. I'm also required, at this particular time to go over the violent offender registration form. And so, Ms. Stefanko, I have to indicate and certify at the end of this that I've specifically informed you of your duties and that you understand those duties. Oh, got it? Okay. So you've been convicted or pleaded guilty to a qualifying violent offender offense as defined in Ohio Revised Code 290341. If you are not sentenced to a prison term, you're required to enroll in a database personally with the sheriff of the county in which you reside 10 days after being sentenced. If you are sentenced to a prison term, you must enroll in the database personally with the sheriff of the county in which you reside 10 days after release from jail. If you are an out-of-state offender, you must enroll in the database personally with the sheriff of the county in which you reside or occupy, dwelling within 10 days of either residing in and occupying a dwelling in Ohio for more than 3 consecutive days, or residing in or occupying a dwelling in Ohio for an aggregate period in a calendar year of 14 or more days. You are required to provide the sheriff certain information regarding your full name, any alias you use, your residence address, your social security number, driver's license number, state identification card issued to you, information regarding the offense of which you were convicted or pleaded guilty, name and address of any place where you are employed, name and address of any school or institution of higher education you attend, license plate number of each vehicle owned or operated by you or registered in your name, vehicle identification number of each vehicle and description of each vehicle, description of any scars, tattoos, or other distinguishing marks on your person. You are required to provide the sheriff fingerprints and palm prints. The sheriff will also obtain a photograph of you at the time of enrollment. Do you acknowledge and understand those duties thus far? After the date of initial enrollment, you're required to re-enroll annually. You must update or amend any of the information described above that is changed. Provide any information requested at the sheriff's office within 10 days of the anniversary of the calendar date on which you initially enrolled. If you change your residence address during the 10-year enrollment period, you shall provide written notice of that change to the sheriff with whom you most recently enrolled, to the sheriff in the county in which you intend to reside within 3 business days of the change of address. You are required to comply with all of the above described requirements for a period of 10 years unless your sentencing court determines otherwise. Since your expected residence is located in, I believe, Wayne County, you shall enroll in person no later than 10 days after being released. Failure to enroll, failure to verify residence at specified times will result in criminal prosecution. You have to acknowledge that the requirements have been explained to you, and you understand that those requirements are in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code, sections 290341 through 290344. With that, I will use the address previously provided. What I'll do, Ms. Stefanko, is hand the form to my bailiff, and by signing you acknowledge that the above requirements were explained to you and that you understand them and that you must abide by all of them.
Sure. Is that address right? Your Honor, while she's signing the document, she's not sure what that address is.
Fair enough. That's why I utilized the address that we previously had listed, I believe, at the time of the arrest. Thank you.
What about? The Eaton Road address, Your Honor, that Tamara has given us would apply.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, with that, Then, Ms. Stefanko, just so that you know, thank you, Ms. Kiefer. I certify that I informed you of your duties as set forth and that you indicated to me an understanding of those duties. I'll sign and date that the 20th day of July, 2021. We'll go ahead and make sure that that's handled as required. With that, you have the right to file an appeal within 30 days of sentencing entry. I know that Attorney O'Brien was previously hired by you. Can you afford a lawyer, or do you wish the court to appoint you one for purposes of appeal?
I wish the court to appoint me one.
Okay, I will make certain that that is handled. Thank you very much for that. I know that Attorney O'Brien, you filed a motion for a furlough to have her, it reads here, Attorney Easter, you can tell me the state's perspective, but it says moves this court for a granting of a short furlough so that she may spend a few days with her husband and family. Ms. Stefanko and her family are willing to employ off-duty law enforcement personnel to ensure her prompt return to the Summit County Jail. Does the state object to that motion?
Yes, Your Honor.
The motion is denied. With that, I believe I've covered everything I need to cover. Is there anything further from the state of Ohio?
I believe there may be one pending motion, Your Honor, and it's the motion for return of property.
Yes, the gold ring?
Correct.
Okay, does the state have a position on that?
Can I just confer with counsel?
Sure.
Judge, we're not exactly sure where this ring will be.
That's
we
fair.
don't have an objection to returning it. I'm just not sure because Mr. O'Brien just told me that it was taken from her in 2012.
Okay. Why don't
so
we?
We will not object. We will look for it and
Fair enough.
turn it over to
Thank you. If you don't mind, maybe Detective Hitchens or law enforcement can check inventory.
Yes.
The state doesn't oppose that the gold ring will be returned. Is that acceptable to you, Attorney O'Brien?
Of course, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Anything further from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Anything further, Attorney O'Brien?
Nothing further, Judge.
Thank you. The court's in recess.